Hi guys, today we are doing Thai style spicy pork ribs. We've got some lovely baby back pork ribs there. I've got 5 racks, so I'm doing this is for 6 people, so it's quite a lot. You can adjust the portion sizes for less people, but I brought out the big pot today. So I've got 5 racks of baby back pork ribs. I've got a couple of stalks of lemongrass, some kaffir lime leaves, I've got a couple of cloves of garlic, some red bird's eye chilies, I've got some red curry paste, Thai red curry paste, I've got some rapeseed oil, I've got some oyster sauce, soy sauce, and I've got 5 bunches of basil, just regular basil. I normally do a ratio of 1 bunch of basil per rack of ribs. And over here I've got 1 mug full, just a regular mug of basmati rice. I'm going to soak that in a little while, and I've got some sea salt there. So that's our ingredients. Now let's start cooking. Okay, what we're going to do first, we're going to get this rice soaking in cold water. Get a nice lot of cold water in there, and we'll leave that to soak. Anything over half an hour is fine. In the meantime, I'm going to start cutting up these beautiful racks of ribs. So I'm just going to cut them into ribs. And that's how they're going to be cooked. You could go ahead and chop these in half with a meat cleaver if you wanted little riblets. But I've done that before and it's good, but you do get bone chips when you do that. So I'm going to stick, I think, with this size, and they're only small ribs anyway, so there we go, that's 1 rack done. And I'm just going to carry on with these. Okay, that's our racks of ribs chopped up. We got some nice meat there, big pile of meat, plenty of bone as well. I'm now going to come over here. I'm going to chop up my lemongrass. I'm going to finely dice my garlic, chop up my chilies, and I'm going to cut my lime leaves into strips. So I'm going to take the middle vein out, fold them over, and then chop them into little strips. So I'm going to carry on with that, and then we can start cooking. Right, that's our ingredients chopped up there. We've got our lemongrass, our lime leaves, our garlic, and our bird's eye chilies. In case you didn't realise already, this is quite a spicy dish. But it's supposed to be spicy, but you can adjust it to your own taste. You can leave out the chilies or put less chilies and less paste. It's entirely up to you. But traditionally it is a spicy dish. So those are ingredients there. I'm going to put our curry paste in now. I'm going to go in with this oil. It's a lot of paste, but then it's a lot of ribs. So we're going to get the heat on that. Not too high. You don't want to burn this paste. You just want to heat it up gently, and you start smelling the aromas of the paste. It's releasing all its flavour. And also, while this is just starting to cook, I'm going to go in with our fresh ingredients. That's to enhance the flavours that are already in the paste, really, but just to add a bit of freshness and depth of flavour. So I'm going to go ahead and fry those ingredients off for a little while. It's going to be about 3 minutes or so, and then we'll add our meat. Okay, our paste has been frying off for about 3 or 4 minutes. Smells amazing with all our fresh ingredients as well. You've got a pungent smell from the paste, and you've got the freshness from the fresh ingredients. I'm now going to go ahead and add the meat. The pork ribs are going straight in. And there they go. I'm just going to put that plate in the sink. Okay, I'm going to turn the heat up. Now I want to get all these ribs stirred into the paste so they all get coated. Give them a good stir. As you can see, they're all getting coated in that lovely paste and ingredients. And while that's happening, I'm going to go in with some oyster sauce. Good quality oyster sauce. A good old few glugs of that. That should be enough. It's starting to sizzle away now. I'll turn it back down a little bit. Right. So that is the oyster sauce, the paste, and the ribs. Now I'm going to go ahead and boil a kettle full of boiling water. Okay, now I've been stirring these ribs in the paste for about 5 minutes. My kettle's boiled. I'm now going to add boiling water to the ribs. So what you want is just near to the top of the level of the ribs, just so they're slightly covered, about there, and then turn the heat up, all the way up. So as you can see, our ribs are just sitting just below the surface of the water. And that's the perfect amount. That's exactly how you want it. Now you want to bring that back up to the boil. And then we'll leave that on a rolling boil, sort of medium to high heat. And that's going to cook for about an hour, or just over an hour. So we're going to bring that back up to the boil. Okay, this has now come to the boil. As you can see, bubbling away. We're going to cook this now on a boil like that. Not full heat, but moderate. Let that bubble away for about an hour, or until most of this liquid is absorbed. And then you will end up with fall off the bone ribs. You don't want to completely dry, you want some juice left. But 95% of this water is going to absorb. So while that's cooking away, I'm going to start picking the basil leaves off the stalks. And then give that a little wash. That goes in right at the end when the heat has been turned off. So there's plenty of time to do that. You've got an hour now. Your rice is soaking. That can be rinsed. That's only going to take about 12 minutes to cook. So we've got time to kick back, have a beer. Okay, our ribs have been cooking for about 45 minutes now. As you can see, a lot of that liquid is absorbed. I'm going to give them another 10 to 15 minutes. They will be done. As you can see, the bones sticking out, the meat's starting to shrink back. It's going to be falling off the bone any time now. So about another 10 to 15 minutes, depending how much juice you want. You don't want that much, you want a bit less. But yeah, about another 10 to 15 minutes. While that's been cooking, I've got my basil. That's all been picked. I'm going to give that a little rinse before I chuck it in. The rice, which has been soaking well over half an hour, I've rinsed that. I'm going to add some sea salt to that, and I'm going to get that on the go anytime now. So that's where we're at the moment. About another 10 minutes for these ribs, and we'll be ready. Okay, as you can see, our liquid has almost completely absorbed. We've got some juice in there. That's exactly how you want it. I don't know if you can get that. It's like a thick curry style sort of juice, if you can see that. As you can see, the ribs are literally coming off the bone. So that is done. I'm going to turn that down to a low heat now because that's just how I like it. I don't want to cook it anymore. There's a bit of juice in there, like a thick sauce. That's perfect. So I'm going to turn that right down. I'm going to get the rice on. I've got some boiling water in the kettle here. So I did 1 mug of rice. So I'm going to do 2 mugs of water. That's my 2 mugs of water. I'm going to get the heat full on. I'm going to go in with a couple of pinches, good pinches of sea salt. Can't season rice really once it's cooked. Make sure you season it before it's cooked. And a little stir. Now I'm going to bring that up to the boil. Then I'm going to put the lid on. Then I'm going to turn the heat down to the lowest heat. While the lid's on, that's going to cook for about 10 to 12 minutes with the lid on a low heat. Right, here's our basil. That is all rinsed, ready to add. We'll save a few leaves back for garnish over the final dish. So that's that. Our rice has just come into the boil. Won't be long now, about 10 minutes, and this will be ready to plate up. Okay, our rice has had about 10 minutes. I've stirred it halfway through. As you can see, that is beautiful, fluffy basmati rice. So our rice is done. I'll leave the lid half off like that, so it doesn't cook anymore. We've got the heats off. Our ribs, they are done. We've been on a very low heat. I'm going to add a little drizzle of soy sauce for that. Then I'm going to add about 90% of this lovely basil. Now it looks like a lot, but it's going to wilt down like spinach before you know it. It's not going to look that much. So I'm going to stir that in. I'm going to turn the heat off so there's no heat under anything now. You can see there's bones falling out. Basil's starting to wilt. It smells amazing now. You have to have the basil. It just transforms it right at the end. You get this lovely smell. So there we go. I'm going to leave that now and plate up. Right, and there we have it. Thai spicy pork ribs with basmati rice. Beautiful, smells amazing. Full off the bone ribs. Last but not least, I'm going to serve this with an ice cold Thai beer. So there you go. Thai spicy pork ribs with basil and basmati rice. Beautiful.